Tonight's broadcast of Stillwater Pony Sports live on VAC-TV is supported by Joseph's Restaurant.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nate puts the deep. There's a shot on net. Score! Touchdown, Stillwater!
Scalia for 3.
Yeah! Score! Score! Oh! Ponies up 2! Pony pride for life.
Forest Lake, are they something to be feared?
Stillwater Ponies boys lacrosse has ran through the tables so far in 2019. They are undefeated and number 2 in the state. We'll see if they can continue that undefeated stretch right here at Pony Stadium as the Stillwater Ponies host the White Bear Lake Area Bears right here on VAC-TV. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Peden alongside Robert Critta. And Robert, the Stillwater boys team last year came within a goal of reaching the state tournament. This year, they have won every game by a margin of 7 or more. What has catapulted them to the number 2 spot in the state rankings?
Training and the underclassmen coming up and really making a difference this year.
Not just the underclassmen, but the upperclassmen as well. Blake Evanson, the Mercer recruit, Tyler Thurston, Nelson Summery, those 3 have hooked up to score in bunches. And they are a big reason why the Ponies have put up big numbers. In fact, they are the 3rd highest team in scoring in the state.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see them get to the point they did last year once again.
That would be the section final. Of course, they would like to get the state, and they have a pretty good chance of doing so. If the season were to end now, based on the QRF rankings, Stillwater would be the 1 seed. White Bear Lake would be the 3. The Bears won the state lacrosse title back in 2015. And, they're 5-1, suffered their first loss of the season at their last meeting. But you've got Thomas Boudreau, who has 37 points, 20 goals, or 17 goals, 20 assists. Adam Woodcock is another player to watch. So this White Bear Lake team, they're going to be an underdog, but they've got a couple of high-profile players who can make this a game.
They do. White Bear is no stranger to having a winning season, and they should also do well this year.
So the captains are meeting at center field. Stillwater wearing the white, White Bear Lake wearing the black. And a little more about White Bear Lake. As we noted, Eric Bloom, 17 points, or 37 points, 17 goals, 20 assists, and we are underway. Thomas Boudreau, 15 goals and an assist. Adam Woodcock, another player to watch, 10 goals, 6 assists. Stillwater, they don't post their data on the Hub website, so we can only tell you so much about the numbers, but here is a taste of it. As we said, every game this season, win of 7 or more. They started the season beating Matamidi 13-6, the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year. Cretin-Durham Hall 16-6. Eastridge 13-6. Moundsview 13-4. Forest Lake 17-2. And recently on Saturday, they went on the road and took care of Lakeville South 15-8. So White Bear Lake, they've got their work cut out for them. And as we noted, the Bears, their first loss came against Cretin-Durham Hall. They're coming off a win over Moundsview at their most recent game, 11-5. But Robert, you heard some of those Stillwater scores. It's not just your 1 or 2 win. There haven't been any flukes or lucky bounces. This Stillwater team have demonstrated their dominance every time out in the field.
They have. The upperclassmen have really shined, but you got to have good support. You got to be able to pass the ball around, cycle the ball, and they're working together as a team, both the younger guys and the older guys.
And they've got a great mix of players. We mentioned Evanson, Thurston, and Summery. Those 3 can score in bunches. And then you've also got the speedy midfielder in Ben Carl. Stillwater parents like to call him Beanie. And Ponies head coach Tom Ho calls him the Tasmanian Devil. We have a penalty. So this will be our first look at a man-up situation.
I'll give you a 10-second countdown. Okay, thank you.
A 30-second holding penalty has been assessed to White Bear number 20, John McBride.
John McBride hit with a holding penalty, so 30 seconds man up for the Ponies as they get the cycle play going. There's Nelson Summary, number 16, and Ty Thurston. Evanson faked the shot, tried the bounce pass. That was a great fake on his part, and the ball just went out of bounds. White Bear Lake was the closest to it. Great move by Evanson. It was just a little to the right, and White Bear Lake catches a break in the early going.
That's just the beginning of the shooting for the Stillwater Ponies. Blake Evanson, you're going to see him fire the ball many times tonight. And you got to remember, Stillwater has 8 seniors, and that's a good chunk of experience on the top end there.
White Bear Lake on the move. Now we're heading over to Stillwater's direction. And that shot goes off the crossbar, and it will roll out of bounds.
Yeah, Theodore Robinson with a great bouncing shot. Had great possibilities, just hit the post and bounced to the side.
We're in the early going. As you know, with boys lacrosse, we play 12-minute quarters. But it's the Ponies who have possession. Summary passes it to Joe Stingle. Here's Thurston up top. Over to Summary. No shot clock at the high school level. So Stillwater can bide their time. There's Evanson. A lot of hockey crossovers. Evanson to Stingle, and that is our first goal of the game. Evanson with the assist. He can rack up assists, and Stingle scores from the middle.
Yeah, he put himself in a good position right in front of the goalie, and he found some room. The defense gave him room, so Evanson found him with the pass, and he just made no mistake immediately. He had room to swing, puts it in the net. And as you were saying, Mike, that Stillwater's heavy in scoring this year.
Third in the state, 14.5 a game. If you're wondering, the teams ahead of them in the offensive category, Shakopee averaging 15.3, Egan at 15.8. The Ponies win the face-off. St. Michael Albertville, they can score a lot as well. They're the highest scoring team in the state, 17.3, so I gave Stillwater one extra position. They're fourth, not third, but still, this Ponies team, as we've seen all season, putting up big numbers. They have not scored less than 13 goals, and it's commonplace this year to see a lot of the deep reserves get some time because they've been able to put up runaway wins. I covered their game with Eastridge, and Stillwater had a big second quarter, and that was all they needed. They were up 10-2 at the half, and Eastridge couldn't get a rally going.
Big shot by Ty Thurston from about 20 yards out. Just sailed past the net high. Really hard shot. Stillwater still with the ball.
And as you know, whoever is closest to the ball on a shot attempt maintains possession. And so far, Stillwater has controlled possession in the early going, and they'll continue to do so. There is no one even close from White Bear Lake as they try to protect the interior. William Lemire minding the net for the Bears. He has done so all season long. Lemire entering this game, .778 save percentage.
Boy, he's looking good tonight. He's made a couple of nifty saves on Stillwater.
You got to be careful, though. Evanson almost cut them off, and he would have had a goal with Lemire outside the net. White Bear Lake escapes. Now they move the ball up, and we have a whistle just before the shot. And I'm not sure. Maybe a crease violation. In any event, White Bear Lake, just as they move the ball up, it goes right back to Stillwater. Thurston fires, goes low. And that ball was stopped by Lemire's stick. White Bear Lake led by Brandon Husak, and Stillwater, as we noted, Tom Ho, their head coach. Tom has a lengthy history of lacrosse with his family. His father and brother are part of the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame, and Tom himself played professionally. He played the box version, the kind you'll see in the National Lacrosse League. Minnesota Swarm used to be a part of that. They're now in Georgia, of course, so no professional pipeline or beacon.
No, I was sad to see him go when the Swarm left.
Well, they ended up winning the President's Cup, I believe, the following year.
That sounds about right for Minnesota team.
Unless you're the Lynx. White Bear Lake, they were on the move. That was Thomas Boudreau, one of the players to watch on White Bear Lake's end. Couldn't find an opening. Boudreau with 15 goals. Eric Bloom, as we said, another player to watch. Boudreau and Bloom have taken divergent paths when you look at their offensive production. There's Bloom. His shot went off the stick of Arns, I believe, and it will go to Stillwater. So Eric Bloom of White Bear Lake started the season 5 goals and 5 assists in a 15-1 win over Hill Murray. He has not registered a hat trick since a 7-6 win over Woodbury when he put up 4 goals. And summary, his shot is too high. It will stay in Stillwater's end, but the last 3 games, Bloom has scored 2 goals, and 1. Now that 1 came against Mounds View and he put up 5 assists. So Bloom, he can score or he can set up a fellow player to do so, but I'll talk a little more about White Bear Lake when they next get possession. And they do right there. That is number 24, Michael Roach, although he coughs it right into Evanson's hands, and Evanson will back off. Finds Thurston, weaves through the hole, and makes it a 2-0 game.
Well, it was a great heads-up pass by Evanson across the center to the other side. Find Ty Thurston for that shot. There was nobody in between him and the goalie.
So give another assist to Evanson. And Thurston gets his first goal of the game. Again, not uncommon for Thurston and Evanson to put up big numbers. Alongside Nelson Summery, as you said, it's a strong senior class that leads the Ponies. And I was talking with a couple of the parents who are running the concession stand, and they have high hopes for the players coming up.
Scoring for Stillwater, number 1, Ty Thurston, with the assist to number 2, Blake Evanson.
Another face-off win for the Ponies, and Evanson wastes little time attacking the net. So Evanson with 2 assists already. Beautiful pass, and an easy score for Theo Robinson. So Evanson, I don't think you can get a hat trick for assists, but he's picked up 3 already. And Stillwater feasting on the Bears. They're up 3-0, and White Bear Lake will call a timeout. You get 2 per game. Roberts, we're seeing the Stillwater train motoring again.
They are, and they're running strong. They're winning, they're keeping possession of it, and they're setting up their cycle, and they're getting good looks, good passes, and good shots. Their passing is looking really good. You know, when they're scrumming for the ball, they're winning the scrums. If White Bear can't get possession of the ball, they are not going to be able to score tonight.
That's a very John Madden-like observation, but it is true. You can't score if you don't have the ball. Well, Ted and I, we talk a lot. In fact, sometimes folks wonder if Ted and I are possibly related, or we sometimes talk to each other more than we talk to other folks. But we noted that in announcing and broadcasting, oftentimes you're summarizing what you're seeing, but that's why your point is astute, even though it sounds obvious. Stillwater, they're winning the faceoffs, as you said. They're winning the scrums, and they're controlling possession. White Bear Lake, I think they've only had one scoring chance in the first quarter, and that's why the Ponies are up 3-0 with all the makings of another runaway win. By the way, we not only have sports for you this month, we have a lot of concerts as well. And if you'd like a DVD copy of any of our games or upcoming concerts, May a big month for that. We have Blu-rays and DVD copies available. Just hit us up at VAC-TV.org or give us a call, or even just walk in over at the Valley Ridge Mall. And while you're there, see if Ted will sign an autograph for you. It may cost you a bit. And we'd also like to thank our presenting sponsor, Joseph's Restaurant, for their support all season long of live sports coverage here on VAC-TV. And go pay them a visit. Finding them is easy as pie. And if you're wondering why I dropped that reference, they do sell pies.
I'm getting hungry.
Scoring for Stillwater.
So 3 different goal scorers for the Ponies, and they've all been set up by the same man, the Mercer recruit Blake Evanson, who was part of the highest or the largest signing class in school history. There were 13 players across the sports spectrum who signed their NLIs back in the fall. It's White Bear Lake who wins the faceoff, though, and a rare chance for them to set up the offense. So I was going to say, while Eric Bloom has had a divergent path compared to Thomas Boudreau on the score column, Bloom, his scoring has dropped somewhat. Boudreau picked up his first 5-goal game in that 11-5 win over Mounds View. Also recorded a hat trick against Hill Murray. But White Bear Lake coughs it up again, and that's the trend we're seeing here. Stillwater can sustain possessions. White Bear Lake, they haven't been able to develop it, and here is the speedy Ben Carl. He scored a goal going coast to coast, roughly, against Eastridge. It was a shorthanded situation. He just took the ball and sped away. That will not be the case this time. He will go out in place of Ty Thurston, but Carl has the speed if necessary. He hasn't needed to use a lot of it as far as scoring is concerned, but that may have been the most exciting goal in that win over Eastridge. Summery fires the shot, and this time Lemire stops it in midair. Lemire waiting for a passing target as he leaks out to midfield, and that pass was deflected and picked up by Theo Robinson. Ben Long got his stick up there. We saw this against Eastridge, a top 10 team, when the two met at the time. And we're seeing it here, just Stillwater bringing the pressure up. I know this is an outdoor sport, but it's akin to the forecheck in hockey. Summery goes right to Thurston. Thurston looking for a lane, finds one. And Lemire with another save. Scrum for the ball is won by the Bears. We'll be back here on Saturday. White Bear Lake on the move when the Stillwater boys host St. Thomas Academy. And to give you an idea of how dominant the Ponies have been, Eastridge and Lakeville South both ranked in the top 10, and Stillwater dispatched them both with ease. Minnetonka, the number 1 team in the state. Stillwater, number 2, with the rankings that came out today. And a lot can happen between now and the playoffs, but that would be quite the showdown. It will not be easy to take on the Ponies this year. That Saturday game will feature a battle of 2 number 1 seeds based on QRF. St. Thomas Academy currently holding the 1 line in Section 3A. White Bear Lake with their first shot on goal. And that comes from number 2, Jackson Chase Jacobus. But Gunnar Arns, I believe, was able to deflect it. It stays with the Bears as we have 10 seconds left in the first quarter. And the Bears can't find an opening. Thomas Boudreau was jammed. Good defensive posture by Isaac Albers, number 12, and that brings the first quarter to an end. The Ponies lead the Bears 3-0, and a lot of it has to do with possession time. We'll talk more about that when we return. They're playing.
For more than 40 years, Joseph's Restaurant has had your favorite pies and been a can't-miss stop for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But have you stopped in lately to see what's new at Joseph's? A new and improved bar area is great for meeting some friends or watching the game. If you're a little toasty inside, come outside on the patio at Joseph's to enjoy your meal in the fresh Minnesota air. Whether past or present, Joseph's is the place to be, right off Highway 36 in Oak Park Heights.
Fancy pants peanut butter?
A big screen television.
You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
The Coffee House concert at Stillwater High School allows students to showcase their talents. The entire concert from Friday will be available on DVD and Blu-ray soon. And Robert, as we've gotten a chance to see with some of these Stillwater performances, you don't have to go to a coffee house to experience some fine musical talent. There's a lot of it, as we saw in the fall and here in the spring. And might be a fitting choice that during the quarter break they played All Star over the PA system, the Smash Mouth hit that, of course, is now a meme thanks to its involvement in Shrek and the 21st century.
In the last 6 minutes of the last portion, White Bear only got in deep on Stillwater 1 time in the last 6 minutes. Woodcock fought his way into the center to find Logan Hindersheet, but they couldn't make anything happen, and then it ended. It would spin all Stillwater.
And Stillwater winning the face-off to open the second quarter. This has been the pattern. The only time they seemed out of sorts was the Matamidi game, if you remember that, Robert, where Stillwater made a couple of turnovers on their own side of the field against Eastridge. That wasn't an issue. And my apologies if I lost my train of thought.
You were talking about Matamidi.
We were talking about Matamidi, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing conversations about sunrise and sunset in my ears. But to confirm your theory, if anyone is wondering, the days do get longer in the spring and they get shorter in the fall. So we get a lot of twilight lacrosse. But Stillwater, they've cleaned up ball control for the most part. You don't see those sloppy live ball turnovers, especially on the defensive side, and it goes back to what you're saying. That allows them to control possession. White Bear Lake gets another one, but they haven't been able to hang on the ball for long when they do get it. And so they've got to be opportunistic with those chances. Eric Bloom tried to get a shot through Gunnar Arens, and Gunnar wasn't having any of that. And that's going to be Stillwater ball again. I feel like a broken record when I say that, but that's how dominant Stillwater has been. And now they turn it over. White Bear Lake with a chance in transition, and they make the most of it. I might have jinxed them, but Ben Bolt forces that turnover, and that is one way to get at the Ponies, forcing a turnover while they're on the defensive side by their own net, and Ben Bolt gets the Bears on the board.
Heads-up play by Ben Bolt, just picking up a loose ball that was overthrown in the center and then running it all the way down for a great shot right in the slot.
Jack, it's your TV.
That goal unassisted. Bears win the faceoff there. That is Thomas Rodriguez. The faceoff specialist. And remember, White Bear Lake does have some history, being state champions back in 2015. If you're wondering about history, as Eric Bloom's shot goes wide, it will stay with White Bear Lake. Last year, these teams met, as you know. Each team only plays each other once in conference play. The Ponies won that one 13-2. Ponies had a solid year. They were 13-3 a year ago, losing in epic fashion to Matamidi by 1 goal, and they had to beat White Bear Lake by 1 goal, and that is not an uncommon scenario when you face teams multiple times, usually in section play. Here's summary. Shot up top was deflected. That might have been number 17, Zachary Kuyava, who got in the way. And Stillwater ends up throwing it away. John McBride comes up with it. White Bear Lake, as we noted, won it all in 2015, beating Bloomington Jefferson. And we have a timeout with 8:24 left in the second quarter.
Well, as I look in the Crystal Lacrosse ball, I'm seeing Stillwater and Minnetonka.
There's another replay of Ben Bolt's goal. Well, White Bear Lake has not been to the state tournament since they won it all in 2015. That's something they would like to change. Well, let's talk about the field. Benilde St. Margaret's, they're ranked number 3 in the state. They won't have a chance to play Stillwater. So that's a question mark. So White Bear Lake calls a timeout. That is their last of the half. Eden Prairie, they're a perennial at 6-1. Prior Lake, another perennial. They're ranked 5th. They're 4-3. In the case of Benilde St. Margaret's, they beat Matamidi 9-3. When you look at common opponents, they'll face Eden Prairie on May 16th. With lacrosse, you don't get to play a whole lot of games, so
a lot rides on games.
A lot rides on it, but you also don't get a lot of measuring sticks per se compared to some other sports. And so Minnetonka and Stillwater might look like the trendy pick, but you never know when you get to that state tournament round. And there could be some surprises in section play, as we saw even last year, when Stillwater trounced White Bear Lake in the regular season meeting and then managed to escape by 1 goal. And the same situation played in reverse when the Zephyrs beat the Ponies in big fashion 16-8 and then had to eke out a 1-goal win in section play. But Stillwater forces the turnover and they're unable to cash in transition. Unfortunate. Theo Robinson was right there and he just couldn't put the ball in the net, but Stillwater hangs on to it.
Yeah, I've seen Ben Carl broke away from the crowd with the ball and carried it down for the Ponies. You were talking about his breakaway speed earlier.
Right, that is someone you do not want to let loose. 3-1 is our score in the second quarter. Evanson Good move on the part of Nelson Summery. He found a cutting Summery near the net. Summery couldn't put it in. Now Evanson winds up. And it's a foot race to the ball. Stillwater was closest as Theo Robinson got a step ahead of his defender, Ben Bold. So the Ponies hang on to it to extend this possession. There's Stingle, who has a goal to his credit. Summery. He's had a few hat tricks, and he gets the first goal of the game. His first goal, and it's Stillwater's fourth. They lead 4-1.
Well, Nelson Summery, he's been pushing, he's been catching passes. He's been ready for that shot up to this point, and so when he got a really good chance, he took it. He was kind of far out. Normally a shot like that is easier to stop when it's coming from so far away, but he got a lot on it. It was low and it was bouncing. Stillwater had the cycle going. They lost possession, and then they regained possession again and made the Bears pay.
How many times have we seen that in this game?
Number 16,
and the Ponies win the faceoff. That goal unassisted. Stingle did feed in the ball, and the faceoff specialist for the Ponies today is Joe Pearson, who picks up a win for the Ponies. We talked about this in our girls' game. Face-off wins, ground balls, that's crucial as well. But the possession time, heavily controlled by the Ponies. As they lead 4-1. And with this team, you never know when they'll break out. As we noted in that Eastridge game, 7 goals in the second quarter. They held Eastridge scoreless in the first, and they were up 10-2, and that was all she wrote as far as that game was concerned. That's Cody Berger as the Ponies bide their time. And that's why you see them so patient. Berger will get the hockey assist. Evanson will get credit for the assist there. And Joe Stingle scores as Evanson passed from behind the net. As you noted a couple of times, Robert, you'll see offensive players hang out behind the net to try to throw the goalie off, keep them away from the ball, and saw why there. It gave Stingle the opening he needed.
Exactly, Mike. It's the multiple choice. You can either sneak in on either side and try to dip one in on the goalie, or you can hit a guy out front that's got an open stick that's just waiting to take a shot.
Stingle with the second goal of the game, and Evanson with his 4th assist.
scoring for Stillwater. Number 9, Joseph Stengel with the assist to number 8, Cody Berger.
Ben Carl forcing a turnover by White Bear a second time in 10 seconds. Secures the ball for Stillwater.
Ponies lead 5-1.
White Bear on the attack now.
A flag on the play, and it's going to be a penalty on the Ponies.
We'll cross check.
That will put White Bear Lake with the man up.
Cross check to the head net for 3 minutes, non-releasable.
Yes, the cross check is an unmistakable motion. Horizontal stick, both hands, push.
Stillwater's number 4, Benjamin Carl, has been assessed a 2-minute non-releasable penalty.
A 2-minute penalty. That is a long one in the sport of lacrosse. White Bear Lake with a big chance here. And a big save by Ahrens. Ponies pick up the loose ball. Ahrens with the save. Siegfried scoops up the loose ball, and that is exactly what the Ponies needed in the face of a big penalty. Here's Jamison Stahl. He'll sub out as Stillwater sets the offense. Now, White Bear Lake still a man up here, so this is 5-on-6. Thorson, he's going to weave through a couple defenders and score the goal shorthanded.
Yeah, he just saw a lane going inside by the goal line and just ran in. Took a little tumble after the shot, but good goal.
It doesn't seem to matter if the Ponies are at even full strength or shorthanded. They find ways to score. And after the clutch save by Arentz, Stillwater on the other end turns it into a score of their own. It's the second of the game for Ty Thorson, and this is how the Ponies have demoralized opponents all season. The same thing happened with Eastridge when Carl got that speedy goal in transition. They're shorthanded, doesn't bother them a bit. Carl still serving the penalty.
Scoring for Stillwater, number 1, Ty Thorson.
And if you look at last year's mark, Stillwater 13-3, the year before 10-5. So what we're seeing out of the Ponies, not unprecedented here. They've had some strong marks, 10-5 or better, going back to the 2016 season. But how they have handled opponents this year is simply remarkable. They're not just winning, they're winning big. And that has allowed them to surge through the rankings. As we noted, they're number 2 in the state. Whether or not they get past Minnetonka, that might be inconsequential, but as you said, as we have another timeout, this one called by Stillwater since White Bear Lake used their 2. 3:32 left in the second quarter. Whether or not they can take over Minnetonka for that top spot may be inconsequential, but this is quite the show to watch. You mentioned Minnetonka being number 1. You know, they're out in the lake, so they don't get to make too many treks out here, but they took care of Eaton Prairie in a 10-7 game. They'll face St. Michael Albertville to end the regular season. The Knights, as we noted, the highest scoring team in the state. We'll see if those two do face off. It wouldn't be until the state final if the rankings hold, and as we said, a lot can happen, but I'm running out of things to say about Stillwater. It's another dominant first half.
Well, just say how you're feeling, and they're playing great. They're having a good season. They get some strong wins against some good teams, and we expect to see them in the postseason.
Well, at least make a deep run in it, of course. Every team plays in the postseason round. Now, Section 4 is a 10-team section, so the top 2 seeds would get byes.
That would be Stillwater.
Yep, Stillwater. Irondale would be second based on QRF. White Bear Lake is in third. And the way Stillwater is handling White Bear Lake here, I don't think they'll have to worry about the Bears catching them anytime soon. So Stillwater, as you said, would be in position to get that first round bye. But as we've seen even last year, the section playoffs are a beast of their own. Tom Hull credits the camaraderie that has brewed with this team as Thurston hooks up with Berger. His shot is off the mark, but Thurston was there to make sure it stays with Stillwater. You know, he's been here for 4 years, so the senior class, they've grown up with him, and the longer you do this, the more cohesiveness you develop, and we're seeing the fruits of that this year.
It's all chemistry, Mike, and they've got it.
A lot of it. Evanson to Berger. Cody had a shot right in front of the net. Evanson will scoop up the ground ball, and then he slips on the turf here at Pony Stadium, picks up the ball again. Evanson stays outside the crease and takes it in himself. Evanson turns a blooper into a highlight and makes it a 7-1 game. It's the first goal of the game for Evanson and his 5th point overall. Do you think he did that on purpose?
No, it looked like he hit a slick spot, a wet spot out there in the field. You don't expect to see any of those on this turf, but it's totally possible. He just banana peeled 1 foot right out, then picked it up and then went in.
Scoring for Stillwater, number 2, Blake Evanson.
So Evanson, whose imprint is all over this game, adds to his lofty figure. 5 points. Another loose ball picked up by the Ponies. And a rare passing miscue. Jack Ostrander was able to force the takeaway. It'll go back to White Bear Lake for now, but as we've said, sustaining possessions has been problematic. We haven't called too many of their names because it seems like Stillwater's hanging on to the ball. They're always the ones setting up. White Bear Lake just sidearms it. That was John McBride. And he might have done so with a teammate waiting behind the net, Thomas Boudreau. 1:26 to play in the second. 6-0 Ponies and the 5-1 White Bear Lake Area Bears. This game has been all Stillwater. One hopper bounces away from the net. That was from Adam Woodcock. White Bear Lake's goal came from a Stillwater miscue when they turned it over into a waiting Ben Bolt, who caught it in stride and turned it into a score. But that's the only goal the Bears have registered. They've had a few shots on net, but not a lot of quality chances, as we have 50 seconds and counting.
Well, this is about the longest possession we've seen this quarter from them.
And that was Charlie Raphael who lost the ball. Stillwater defender, I believe that was Stahl perhaps, who got the stick check to poke it away. And now the Ponies have a chance to add another goal before the half is over. There's 30 seconds and summary. I don't get that chance. We had some kind of violation. But White Bear Lake has to traverse the entire field here. They won't have much time. There's Woodcock. Found an open man in Eric Bloom, and Bloom gives the Bears much needed support to make it 7-2 with 10 seconds left in the second quarter.
Well, that was a great fake by Woodcock. He made like he was going to shoot, but he just passed it to the open man who had a wide open shot.
And quite often in this sport, you have to respect the ball handler when they're in striking range. And oftentimes that leaves a teammate open. It was Bloom, and Eric Bloom picks up his 18th goal of the year. But the Ponies will extend their lead nonetheless. It was 3-0. They win the faceoff. They've got time if they hurry. Evanson, 3 seconds, shakes the defender, fires wide right, and that'll bring the second quarter to an end. A second quarter and a half controlled by the Ponies. They hold a 7-2 lead over White Bear Lake. We'll be back to break down the first half in a moment.
It's pretty cool.
Mr. Dennis McDonough.
Two more times. Come on. It's gonna collect in some kind of a basin up here.
It is just an unbelievable experience and advantage that we're giving to kids.
We believe in patriotism. We believe in our nation's youth. We believe veterans earn their benefits through their service to our nation. We believe in a strong national security. We believe in our country. For 100 years, veterans have been impacting our nation through the American Legion, and we believe it makes a difference. If you believe, learn more at legion.org/webelieve.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
We're definitely believers in Stillwater boys lacrosse. They hold a 7-2 lead over the White Bear Lake area Bears right here on VAC-TV. Mike Beaton alongside Robert Critta, and there we are somewhere. In fact, there we in the press box. You can see us right here. Hey, Alex. Hello, world. All right. Well, here's a better view of. We look a lot better on this angle, don't we, Robert?
No. I mean, yes.
No? Well, I'll tell you who looks good at all angles. The Stillwater Ponies, 7-2. Only a couple of mistakes. One of them led to a goal. Outside of that, they've controlled possession time. That pressure of theirs limiting chances for White Bear Lake, and they are finding offense all over thanks to the vision of Blake Evanson. 4 assists, and he has a goal. Ty Thurston and Joe Stingle lead in scoring with 2 goals each. Another first half that seems routine for the Ponies, but it's the kind of season they've had all year.
Great, Mike. Great.
That's it. That's all you got to say. What stands out from this game or just this season with how Stillwater has been able to do so well?
They started the season well, and they started on a good foot, and they never left it.
They've been on such a good foot that our camera crew is dancing at this dazzling display. In fact, Brett is back on there. He can't get enough of this. He's been dabbing. I'm sure he's been doing some shimmies every time Stillwater scores, but it's just tough. Tough. We've run out of things to say, so we're going to go to a break and come back for the second half.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org. Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Observe a domesticated human family in their natural habitat, known to their species as the backyard.
Hey, you think I should light it now?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Oh dear, someone is about to burn a pile of debris that's too tall, which can start a wildfire. Wait, could it be? Blimey, it is.
It's Smokey.
It's Smokey Bear. What a legend.
Hey, it's Smokey. Sorry, it was too high. Right.
Watch as he astutely ensures that there's no wind, and how he removes some of the debris to create a smaller, safer burning pile.
No, you said make it bigger, baby. The bigger, the better.
Take note of our fearless furry friend here, humans.
I appreciate it. Fist bump.
Watching you.
Smokey's done it again.
Bye, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires. what would happen if.
Well, Robert, if you want to tell me maybe about Stillwater's control of this game, just go ahead now.
You know what? You can sum it up in one word. Dominant.
We've said that word a lot. I might need to come up with some adjectives or some alternatives for dominant, because Stillwater, they've been doing this all season, running through opponents, putting up big scores, getting to the point where they can put in their reserves by the fourth quarter. You're just seeing the culmination of the last 4 years with Tom Ho and his imprint, his philosophy, his style. The Ponies have bought into it, and that's why you've got a couple of college commits in Evanson and Ty Thurston. And I'm sure there will be more on the way if this run of success continues. Assertive, commanding, leading. All those things could describe Stillwater, and that first half was no exception.
You know, I like to see great saves, and still the White Bear goalie has made some nice saves tonight. In fact, the score would probably be a lot higher if he hadn't made some of those really nice saves. But Gunnar Aaron's not tested hardly at all tonight.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because one of those big saves that Arns had when Ben Carl got hit with that 2-minute cross-checking penalty turned into a Stillwater goal.
All right, more saves for Gunnar.
Well, Arns might have a chance to add another save. He's only allowed 2 goals. White Bear Lake hasn't had much of a chance. They get one there, and there is Arns with another save. A rare scoring opportunity from Eric Bloom. And that's the one thing Stillwater has to be careful of. The only time it really affected them was that season opener with Matamidai, and that really only bothered them for a half. They cleaned up that ball control in the second half, and ever since, that Stillwater train's been rolling. Or I should say, the Pony Express has been rolling, which I believe is the name of the student newspaper.
Oh, that's a great way of putting it, the Pony Express. They've been like a freight train all season.
A freight train that will not stop. And they showing no signs of stopping here in this one. Mike Beaton and Robert Critter alongside you for live high school lacrosse on VAC-TV. And of course, we'll have more sports coverage coming your way on Saturday. We have another live game. Ted will take my spot because I have to be on Twins duty. As Summery's shot, I think, may have gotten off the stick of William Lemire. Robert will be here, though, as the Stillwater Ponies host St. Thomas Academy.
You know, Stillwater's really great. They have 7 goals. And not 2 guys have all the goals. 5 guys. That's just 5. They have a lot more guys than that can score also. So they got very widespread scoring, which is a great asset.
And there's one of them, Nelson Summery, who has 1 goal to his credit. There's no hat tricks yet for the Ponies, but we know they can get a few. Stengel with the shot. Lemire sends that away. And going to what you're saying, a lot of guys who can score, so you're not going to see too many guys put up 6, 7, 8 goals in a game. It's more likely you're going to see 2 or 3 guys with hat tricks by the end of the night. Well, there's our first hat trick. It comes from Joe Stengel. And the Ponies extend their lead. It's 8-2.
Yeah, widespread scoring. The other teams have to fear all the players on Stillwater because there's so many scorers. You know, if you got like only 1 or 2 big scorers that you're playing against, you kind of box out the scorers and keep them from passing or shooting, and you got some defense. Stillwater, what kind of defense are you going to put up against 6 guys out front of your net that can all hit the net quickly?
That's been a tough proposition for opponents this year. White Bear Lake, as we noted, they have a few playmakers, but most of their scoring is concentrated around 3 guys. Eric Bloom, whose scoring production has dropped over the last few games, and then Thomas Boudreau and Adam Woodcock. And you've got some others who have chipped in, but White Bear Lake is a big 3. Stillwater, their entire offensive line is capable of putting the ball in the net. Stengel to Thorson. Thurston Sees a hole, and I believe there was a stick check involved that prevented him from firing at full velocity.
Exactly, a big stick check. A couple of sticks coming in hard, not preventing him from getting a good swing on it.
Here's Bloom. He won't be able to take it in himself. Stillwater's defense was ready for him. Charlie Raphael will reset things for the Bears. Not an easy assignment this year, having to go up against the Stillwater monster, the Buzzsaw. Many have tried, few, well, in fact, none have succeeded. That's why the Ponies are 6-0. And the Ponies force another turnover. That was Jack Ostrander. Jamison Stahl will flip it to Summery, who will get the offense in motion. As we mentioned, live lacrosse coming on Saturday when the Stillwater boys host St. Thomas Academy. They'll have another game on Thursday. We'll have highlights of that one when the Ponies go on the road to play Woodbury. And we were scheduled to give you highlights of softball. That may not happen with the rain, but keep an eye out for Stillwater baseball and softball. Those two teams could make their way back to state. The baseball team, number 1 in Class 4A. No surprise with Drew Gilbert, your ace. Summary. That's off the mark. But with Cody Berger there to run things from behind the net, not an issue at all. Berger tried to flip it back to Evanson. Nobody from White Bear Lake in position to take the ball away. And you see the Bears in more of that defensive position. They're not looking to force takeaways, trying to keep Stillwater from getting open. And that's another reason why the Ponies have sustained such long possessions on offense, and persistence has paid off multiple times. Ty Thurston, the latest beneficiary.
Yeah, they weren't challenging Stillwater. They're not letting them come inside, but they're letting them shoot from the outside. And if you do that, you're still going to have problems, because with a big swing from the outside, you can get a lot of velocity on that ball, get it moving really fast, hard to stop.
As we said, it's not uncommon for multiple Stillwater players to record hat tricks. Joe Stengel and Ty Thurston both have a hat trick, and we still have a quarter and a half to go.
Ben Carl runs it toward the net. And he holds it behind. Stillwater holding the ball, starting to cycle around.
And Stillwater may wait for Carl to sub out. And that's exactly what they'll do. As they get their offensive players in formation. But you saw a glimpse of the speed Ben Carl brings. A hesitation move, and Cody Berger goes off speed for the score. So Berger adds his name to the list of Stillwater scorers, and here we go again. Another runaway win for the Ponies in the making.
Yeah, Cody Berger has been working the ball the whole game. Good passing and good transitions, and it finally pays off for him getting on the board.
Finally pays off. You make it sound like Berger's been struggling, or this team has been struggling.
No. But when you touch the ball the whole game and you get one good look at the net, you got to make it happen.
Well, Berger did make it happen. It's 10-2. And another face-off win for the Ponies. Can they put this one in the net too? We shall see. Evanson, 4 assists already. It's an embarrassment of riches here when you look at all the players who can make things happen for the Ponies. Summary. Loses the ball momentarily following the check from Cameron Zaleski. Quick stick. Joe Stengel, his shot wide left. But Berger back there. Finds Evanson. Tries to go back to Berger, and Berger will retrieve it before the ball goes out of bounds. And tried to take it himself. And I think he may have gotten in the crease, so White Bear Lake will take over. 5:20 left in the third quarter, and once again, White Bear Lake possessions few and far between. But our Stillwater coverage on VAC-TV isn't. As we noted, plenty of concerts coming up in the month of May, and first weekend of June we'll have the graduation ceremony, the commencement at Roy Wilkins Auditorium. Stillwater on the move following the turnover, and
boy, Joe Stengel went down hard on that shot.
I thought there might have been a foul there. Officials let that one go, and Stengel, I think, got in the crease, so White Bear Lake catches a break. I thought Stengel may have been pushed from behind. Jackson chased Jacobus, tried to pass it up front, and there's Stillwater's defense again, waiting to intercept those passing lanes. That's number 26, Jack Huntingson. Now Stillwater having a little trouble moving the ball upfield, but not for long. Stengel will lob it over to Evanson. Now he goes back to Summery, and now the Ponies can initiate their offense again. Here's Alex Corbett. Evanson found Theo Robinson with the pass. Stillwater gets the ball, and I believe that was Ty Thurston who scores. We'll confirm it on the replay, but it's 11-2. Well, you see the aftermath. Couldn't see who was the stick handler there, but you do see Blake Evanson, who has to be pleased with another convincing performance out of the Ponies. And in this game, the way they're able to rebound from mistakes so quickly is quite impressive.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of things right tonight, Mike. I'm really impressed with their passing and their ability to dig a ball out of the turf, just lifting it out like it belongs with them.
The only mistake came in that turnover to Ben Bolt on their side of the field. Now the Bears had an opening. Stillwater gets in there, and they get the check on Shea Rayburn, and the Ponies take over again. That is until White Bear Lake will get the ball back following the turnover.
You're good. Hey, Blake, keep working that, okay? Keep working it. You're good, Dario. You're good. Hold right.
And just not enough from White Bear Lake. As we've said, when they get the ball on offense, they can't develop those long possessions. The two goals they did get came in transition. Jackson chased Jacobus. Puts a little too much velocity on that one. It's White Bear Lake ball, though. Nick Denault was there. He'll pass back out to Eric Bloom. And White Bear Lake, they've got some good players, as we've seen. Eric Bloom leads the team in goals and assists. And then you got to go up against Stillwater, a team that has played well the last couple of years. And White Bear Lake, they know what it's like when you look at the history books, winning it all back in 2015, but as we said, they have not reached the state tournament round since. And that's going to be a push on the Ponies. It will go against Nick Dario, so it will stay White Bear Lake ball with under 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. And in addition to our live game on Saturday, we have a couple more tape delay games that you'll see on VAC-TV. Stillwater boys will host Chanhassen. That's going to be a penalty on the Ponies. Holding penalty on Justin Siegfried. And there's still a few games to go, but here's an interesting proposition. Depending on how things play out, you could have 3 Stillwater teams play for section titles on the same night.
Not surprised.
White Bear Lake scores with the man-up advantage. That's Eric Bloom who dumps it in to make it 11-3. That's the second goal of the game for Bloom and his 19th of the year. And the assist will come from Daniel Nelson. Eric Bloom will get credit for the goal. And the Ponies win another face-off. Joe Pearson doing a fantastic job in that capacity tonight. So that score makes it an 8-goal game again, but the Ponies have inscribed their signature once again. And what you could say is a magical season for the Ponies. Something they've been building up to over the last few years. 10-5 in 2016 and 17, 13-3 last year. 6-0 and well on the way to becoming 7-0. Evanson's shot deflected by a White Bear Lake player. It will stay with Stillwater with 17.6 on the clock. Stillwater swings it around. 7 seconds. Flag on the play. And that will more than likely carry over into the fourth, with foul going against White Bear Lake. Slashing penalty on Ben Bolt. Stillwater too far away from the net to do anything, but they lead 11-3 at the end of 3. We'll be back for the fourth quarter in a moment.
Tonight's broadcast of Stillwater Pony Sports live on VAC-TV is supported by Joseph's Restaurant.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nate puts the knee. There's a shot on net. Score! Touchdown, Stillwater!
Scalia for 3.
Yeah! Score! Score! Oh! Ponies up 2! Pony pride for life.
All right, Stillwater working hard tonight, but not very hard. Dominating over White Bear, 11-3. 1 quarter to go.
Well, you say that, and this happens quite a bit with teams that are dominant. I think that's, okay, we got somebody out there having a little fun over by the Stillwater net, who's taking some target practice. You say Stillwater's not working hard, and we see this a lot with teams that are dominant, that are ranked first or second in the class, or with lacrosse being a one-class sport. It takes a lot of hard work to make it look easy.
But when everything's flowing, everybody's passing well, and your guys are in position, when everything flows easy, it just feels easy. It doesn't feel like you're really working hard. You're having more fun. When you're winning, you're having more fun than when you're not.
Oh, that's for sure. But it goes back to the work they put in practice, the chemistry, as you noted, how well this team is in tune with each other. So a lot of effort, a lot of equity has gone into this team. And so it looks easy. And even if it is easy, the Ponies put in a lot of hard work to make this look easy. That may not make any sense to you, but point is, Stillwater, they are earning these wins. They're not coming against a low-level competition. Matamidi was the team that sent them home a year ago. Lakeville South and Eastridge, both top 10 teams this year. The Ponies will get another one in St. Thomas Academy. Evanson with the hesitation move. He'll pass back behind to Berger. And he goes to Summery. I'm not sure if Summery was preparing for that, but he makes the most of it. And barring something unusual, this will be another win for the Ponies. Evanson's shot blocked by Lemire. It will stay with Stillwater. And this game, a microcosm of how Stillwater can beat you. It was Evanson setting up players early. He had 4 assists, 5 points overall. And since then, Ty Thurston and Joe Stengel have emerged in the scoring department. Thurston with 4 goals, Stengel with 3. Make it 4 for Stengel off the feed from Berger. Once again, you sit up behind the net, and as you said many times, you're forcing the opposing team's goalie to make a guess. Throw that multiple choice question at him, and Stillwater seems to be the team with the answers.
Yeah, White Bear having a tough go of it this evening. But there's lots of time left. Anything could happen in 10 minutes.
When White Bear Lake wins the faceoff, they try to get a quick score out of it. And Gunnar Ahrens says, I don't think so. That was Thomas Rodriguez. But as we've said, chances few and far between for the Bears. The Ponies instilling their might again.
Well, they would have liked to have scored on that one. That was one of the best opportunities they had this evening. Yeah, if you get a couple strides ahead of the defense and it's just you and the goalie, it's really important to make that shot count. And as I said before, the Ponies would probably have another 8 points if the White Bear goalie hasn't been making some really nice saves on some very hard, fast shots by the Ponies.
White Bear Lake's goalie Lemire has been busy tonight, and that's because Stillwater has had a litany of scoring chances. There's another example, but that's what Stillwater does. If a shot doesn't go their way, they hustle after it. They're right there. They use that forecheck effectively, and look who has the ball again.
Boy, they're just playing off. They're not hardly challenging at all. They're trying to force Stillwater to shoot from the outside only.
Well, that pass went right into the stick of Thomas Rodriguez, a rare turnover on the part of the Ponies. And that seems to be one of the few ways White Bear Lake can get the ball, as if Stillwater literally hands it to them.
Exactly.
That's how they scored their first goal of the game, but as we've said, not enough on the offensive side for the Bears. They've been stuck playing defense most of this game, and you can have the greatest goalie on earth. It's tough to hang when you're having to play defense, having to ward off so many shots. Here's Nick Denault, tries the wraparound. Bloom, hesitation, centering pass, saved by Ahrens. And the loose ball is picked up by Ostrander. No, that was Summery, actually, who will get credit for the ground ball.
Boy, that was a really good save by Gunnar Ahrens, using his body to block that shot. It was a hard shot, too.
A late flag comes in, just as White Bear Lake was going to move the ball up.
Fight 1-6, unsportsmanlike conduct, 1 minute, non-releasable.
1 minute penalty for Nelson Summery. Although at this stage it seems inconsequential. White Bear Lake hasn't shown any indications of a quick rally here. Unsportsmanlike conduct is the ruling against Nelson Summery. It's been a relatively quiet game for him. And Summery getting some encouragement from Thurston and Ben Carl, so it will be White Bear Lake ball. They'll have the man advantage. Bears swing it around, and they throw it right into the stick of a Stillwater player. We saw them score a goal shorthanded earlier. And that is a sign of a strong team. We saw that with the Eastridge top 10 team, and White Bear Lake, at 5-1. So certainly not a pushover. But you've got a potent force when you can score shorthanded, as Stillwater's been able to do. 13 goals or more in every game this season. Evanston looking for a seam. And every victory has been by 7 goals or more as the penalty expires. So right now, one of those streaks would remain intact with Stillwater up by 9. The other one will also stay intact as Cody Berger notches his second goal of the game. Didn't quite see who fed Berger the ball, but another high-octane performance from the Ponies as they lead 13-3.
Good enough, baby! That's it. Let's go, son! Jack, stop back.
When you look at all the players who can put up goals, 6 players have scored for the Ponies. And Stengel will get credit for the assist. So when you add up all the points so far, Evanston with 5, 1 goal, 4 assists. Joe Stengel, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points for him. What more can you say, Robert?
Well, Stillwater is really dominating tonight, and I'm not too surprised. They've been real strong all season, like you said. And the scoring is so widespread. The chemistry is good. Their passing is good. What can you say?
Well, I can say that Ben Carl. No, that wasn't Ben Carl. That was Zach Johnson who got the loose ball. You might see some of Stillwater's reserves take the field to close out this one. With the victory cemented, 13-3. We have one more live lacrosse game coming your way, and a collision at midfield between Jamison Stahl and Shea Rayburn. White Bear Lake emerges from it with possession. There's Stillwater to knock it away, and back to Stillwater it goes. Corbett to Cody Berger, who has 2 goals on the night, 3 points unofficially. Evanson's still out there, but some of the backups have taken the field, including Carter Bees, number 37. We're going to have a flag. Others, Clay Batterton, number 14.
Another cross check.
Two-minute penalty for the Bears. It goes against Tony Jorgensen, and before Stillwater resumes, there will be a timeout, both teams having 2 available. So once again, live coverage of boys lacrosse. Our final live broadcast of the spring will be Saturday when the Ponies host St. Thomas Academy. And going back to what I was saying earlier, there is a good chance that 3 teams, as we take another look at the last goal scored by Cody Berger, there could be 3 teams playing for section titles in June, because the Section 4 lacrosse final and Section 4 4A baseball and softball, or baseball final I should say, not softball, will all take place on the same night.
And where will you be?
Well, that's a good question.
Well,
it depends on, if baseball makes it, and we expect they will, they would be at the same site. Lacrosse, I believe, is going to White Bear Lake, and baseball, of course, has their section final at CHS Field. So you might get a case where, Ted and I are in 2 places at once.
Just like the Pope.
Yes. But both boys and girls have their section final at one site and played back-to-back. So it's a good problem to have. I wouldn't mind being at CHS Field to cover the baseball team, but I'm sure it'll be just as fun to see if the lacrosse teams can make their way to state. The girls have done so for 8 years in a row. The boys are looking to make their mark. And they're well on their way to doing so. Evanson feeds it to Alex Corbett, and Evanson will pick up his 5th assist of the game. And Corbett gets on the board. And that makes it 7 different goal scorers for the Ponies. Now this one comes in stat padding time, but just another sign of the depth, the versatility, and the talent that saturates this Stillwater team. White Bear Lake wins the face-off. Rodriguez once again looking for the quick score. Maybe a bit of frustration on the part of White Bear Lake. Ponies up by 11. As you were saying earlier, Stillwater having an easy time with this, but it's commendable, it's remarkable to put up a series of big wins. Throughout the season, a lot of teams might get 1 or 2 of these runaway wins, but Stillwater is doing it with the consistency of James Holzhauer and his margin of victory in most Jeopardy games. It takes a lot of work to build up the skill set, and in this case, a team sport, to get that chemistry, to get all the players to buy into what you're doing. And so having one or two big wins is nice, but Stillwater's been doing this game after game. There are not many weaknesses with this team. Turning the ball over on their side of the field has been their one problem, the one issue, the one obstacle that has stopped them in their tracks, but that was only brief. And that came in the Matamidi game when they had a close first half. I think it's been a while since they've had that. In that Matamidi game, they were up by 1 at the half and then pulled away for a 13-6 win. I don't think they've had anything to be worried about since then.
The White Bear defensive umbrella has just collapsed even more. They even shooting from the outside, they're shooting from the hash marks. They're not even shooting from the outside, really. They're shooting from the outside of the inside lane. The Ponies are.
.218 to go, and we're going to have another flag.
The White Bear defender got a little bit feisty in defending the goal. The ball was loose. The goalie was going for it. The Pony was going for it, and one of the defenders just got in there and muscled the Pony out for the penalty.
Academic. Now we'll go against Ben Bold, who has goal to his credit. Unnecessary roughness. If you want the succinct summary of Robert's description, you can muscle someone out. You just can't muscle them too hard. And that's not a penalty you'll see in hockey. Well, I guess they call it roughing.
They do.
They don't call it unnecessary roughness, but you're right. A little unnecessary muscling on the part of Ben Bolt. Again, Academic with the Ponies up by 11. And the parents, they don't want to punch their ticket to state just yet, but they're excited about their prospects. What else? I mean, what more is there to say?
Well, I'm very happy about the way the chemistry is on these teams between all the players, including the goalie. Gunnar Ahrens, of course, making some good saves when he has to tonight. But the players just seem so relaxed, and when they pass each other, it looks effortless. And I know it's a hard effort, it's a hard game. Hand-eye coordination's got to be good. But when you're winning and you're having a good time, it's easier. It just is.
It does flow, right? You're not thinking about losing streaks or obstacles or hurdles. Again, that first half with Matamidi in the games I've covered with this team, the only rough terrain they've had to traverse, and they did so splendidly. As we have less than a minute to play in this one. And sometimes progress is gradual. As we said, this Ponies team, it's not like they jumped out of the blue. They were 13-3 a year ago, came within a goal of making it to state, so everyone knew the potential was there to have a strong year. As White Bear Lake tries to get another goal on their column. Charlie Raphael comes up a little bit short. I'm impressed with the consistency and the litany of big wins. It says a lot about how far this team has progressed, how much talent, how much chemistry, how that has all come together when you're not only undefeated, but you're winning with large margins.
This could be the year.
We're at the halfway point of the regular season, and we'll find out if this is the year. We've got a few more weeks before we answer that question, but it's another big win for the Ponies. An 11-goal win, 14-3 over the White Bear Lake Bears. Robert and I will be back to wrap things up in a moment.
Mr. Dennis McDonough.
Two more times. Come on. It's going to collect in some kind of a basin up here.
It is just an unbelievable experience and advantage that we're giving to kids.
Another methodical win for the Ponies, 14-3 over the White Bear Lake Area Bears. Stillwater stays undefeated. They go to 7-0. Robert, all season long, the Ponies have climbed in the scoring column. They've climbed in the rankings. They sit at number 2. It might be a hard time to get to number 1, but this Ponies team, as you said, this might be their year. We still have several games to go before we can answer that question, but they have all the makings for a special season.
Well, Mike, you alluded to the fact that even though you play a few games, so each game is very important, but you really don't know what you're going to get against the opposition, who you don't often get to see a lot of in some cases.
And especially in this sport when you only play your conference opponents once, as we look at some of the second half highlights. Joe Stengel and Ty Thurston lead in scoring. They both had 4 goals each. Blake Evanson and Stengel led in the point department. Evanson with 6 points, 1 goal, 5 assists. Stengel 4 goals, 2 assists. 7 different goal scorers, and if the Ponies can continue this blend of depth and talent, it's hard to see who can stop them.
Well, it sure is fun watching them play, and when the team is having a good time, I'm having a good time too.
They certainly are having a good time, and I think Gunnar Arns was having a good time as well. Didn't have to do a lot tonight.
Some nights, rarely, some nights a goal can be like that.
And I don't think Arns is complaining about that one bit, although there was a big save on his end that was converted into a Stillwater goal, which shows you how quickly they can move the ball, the passing, the ball control getting a lot better. Just another fine performance, and if there are any lacrosse fans in the making out there, any younger folks who want to get an idea of what it takes to be at this level, I think they got a few lessons tonight.
Oh, absolutely, and this is a great place to come see lacrosse and learn about it. Just come watch it at the high school level. It doesn't move as fast as the pros, so you get to watch the plays develop, and you get to learn how the game works, and it's just so much fun. It's a great game.
Well, you will get a couple more chances to take in lessons from the Stillwater team. On Thursday, they go on the road to face Woodbury. We'll have highlights of that on the social media feeds of Valley Access channels, and then we're back here Saturday. Ted will take my place as the Stillwater boys host St. Thomas Academy. That one should be a lot of fun. St. Thomas Academy in the top 10 in the boys lacrosse rankings. That does it from Ponies Stadium. For Robert Critta and Ted LaRue, who's running the camera behind us, and the rest of our VAC-TV team, I'm Mike Beaton. Thanks for watching high school lacrosse right here at Ponies Stadium.
Tonight's broadcast of Stillwater Pony Sports live on VAC-TV has been supported by Joseph's Restaurant. Thank you for watching VAC-TV Sports.